going to happen. And like, one, he's not great. Two, the Cards are in it right now, so that's something. I think they're tied for like a wild card spot, or they're very close to a wild card spot. But see, these are some of the names that I don't know if these are sexy names or not. Of course, Bregman on the IL for Boston, but the Red Sox are kind of going nowhere, and they traded their third baseman kind of with the intention of keeping Alex Bregman around. Austin Riley on there. I don't see the Braves trading away Ryan McMahon and Suarez. Like, what they're not going to trade to the Dodgers. They're not going to trade. Sorry, the Rockies and the Diamondbacks are not going to trade in division. But that last name, Jose Ramirez, J-Ram. Let's talk a little J-Ram in Dodger Blue. He's got, 3 years left on his deal, plus whatever's left of this year. Cleveland kind of out of it right now. 4 games back in the wild card. What do you think? Do you think the Dodgers, do you think this front office could pull some trade deadline magic and make J-Ram a possibility for the Dodgers?
It's interesting because, Max Muncy's contract, for those unfamiliar, he has a team option for next year, which seemed like a foregone conclusion would be picked up. I think it's like $10 or $12 million. So it's a very affordable number. However, if he were to be out for the season and then coming back from some major knee surgery, I think that makes things interesting. You mentioned some of the names down at AAA. There is not an obvious long-term answer at third base at the top of the minor league system. Alex Freeland is probably the long-term shortstop plan if Mookie Betts ever moves over to second base. Tommy Edman can play center field. Ha-Sung Kim is sort of a utility guy. So I think third base is open, so a guy like Ramirez would make some sense. You mentioned it's going to be expensive. He's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. I love Jose Ramirez. He's one of my favorite players in Major League Baseball that's not a Dodger. I love that he's a little guy who just absolutely smashes the ball. I love that he's incredibly consistent. I think he seems like a joyful guy, a positive guy to be around. Teoscar Hernandez vibes just the way that I see other players interacting with him. And so, look, if the Dodgers wanted to make a move and could figure something out, I don't know if I would want to be like dipping into the position player prospects that the Dodgers have down in the lower levels, the Jose DePaula, Zaire Hope types, because I just think the ceiling on those guys is so high. I'm trying not to be a prospect hugger, but I think if you can sort of focus primarily on maybe trading away some of maybe pitching depth that they have at the upper minors and get there, I think he could be intriguing. So I think the Dodgers will kick the tires. It feels a little ambitious. It feels like Cleveland would have to be blown away to move off of him. And so, I have one other name that I can throw out there that is not going to excite anybody in the wake of a Jose Ramirez conversation. But the name that I saw, just as someone who might be available, that caught my attention was Luis Rengifo of the Angels. Now, would the Angels trade with the Dodgers? Maybe that counts as a divisional team that would never do it. Who knows? But we know the Dodgers have gone after Rengifo before. He was in the famed fallen apart Jock Peterson, Ross Stripling trade from a million years ago. The last 2 seasons, he's been a 116 weighted runs created plus guy. He plays all over the infield, so he can be kind of a utility guy. Not great defensively, but if the Dodgers basically look, I think, at their internal options and say, Freeland isn't ready, Rojas isn't good enough, Kike, we want to be able to flex and move all over the place. I wonder if Rengifo, as a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, could just be sort of this temporary stopgap, wouldn't cost them a ton, wouldn't cost them any of their top prospects. So, again, that's not a sexy name, but it feels like, to me, that would be an upgrade over Rojas and Kike, even though he's having a bad year this year. That's my view. Yeah, fair. And you would assume like a change of scenery would help him out a little bit. Problem is, I mean, he seems to be pretty, Rengifo, that is, seems to be pretty, an important piece of a weird kind of not awful Angels lineup, but still. And we know Artie's an idiot. He doesn't want to trade, get any sort of prospects or anything like that. I love the idea of a stopgap. I'm at a point where obviously I'm coming very out of pocket here, throwing J-Ram out there, but that's where I'm looking. Something you had mentioned, like if Max is out, like he has to have knee surgery. It's not like he's coming back for opening day next year, and it's not like they're going to be able to plug him in and he's going to be perfect at third base by even All-Star break. This is a very long process. Again, there's no news. I'm seeing people asking in the chat. It's like, is there news? There's no news on Max yet. He's still undergoing testing. I'm erring on the side of less optimism than the organization is, and I'm looking at, like you mentioned, Jeff, there are no clear
obvious answers and options for the third base position for this team. They have a lot of talent. As much as I would hate to see, a Zaire Hope or Jackson Ferris or whatever, like these type of dudes, some of the top 10 prospects move.
Yeah.
If you're able to get one of the best third basemen in baseball, one of the best hitters in baseball, you can play him at third, play him at second, whatever makes the most sense for your team. A couple years down the road, the contract isn't crazy. $21 million owed next year, 23 in 27, and in 2028 only $25 million. I mean, that's kind of chump change when you're talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you immediately improve at third base in a season where you're trying to run it back to back. But again, with no obvious third base options, just pounding down the door or even gently tapping or ringing a doorbell. It's like they need somebody to be a long-term solution, because even so, as much as like we love Max, like he is on the wrong side of 30 now. He wasn't going to be the option for the next, until 2028 either way. So this is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have the prospect capital to make a J-Ram move happen. I think it's really about whether or not Cleveland is interested in kind of officially starting a rebuild, because they've probably really needed a true rebuild for a while. Weak AL Central, and they're still a number of games out, a number of games behind the whoever's leading there in the Central right now. I forget at the moment. It's, again, who cares about the AL Central? Tigers, that's right. Duh, they're the other good team in baseball. They got no shot. Just trade J-Ram, make him a Dodger. Everybody's happy. And then once he's back and healthy, he could be on the bench. You got some sock. He can play around a little bit. Spelling, we lost you for a second there. Freddie at first, some third base, second base, and all that kind of stuff. But that's where I'm at. I push my chips in. If I'm the front office, I push my chips in trying to make a Jose Ramirez deal happen. Now, people in the chat, understandably, like, it's going to cost a lot. I don't see it happening. A lot of things need to break the right way for the Dodgers to make this move happen. But I think they can. I really do think they can. Yeah, well, and he plays a solid defensive third base as well, which is worth pointing out. So you'd be upgrading offensively, even as well as Max Muncy had been playing. You'd be upgrading defensively as well. And I mean, he's a superstar. And I think the point you made about the cost, like $20 to $25 million a year for 3 years, is absolutely nothing, especially if this guy was on the free agent market. If you wanted to sign him to a 3-year deal, you'd be talking like $50 million a year, probably on that short of a deal. So I love Jose Ramirez, would be thrilled if they were able to pull it off. I just don't know if they go all in that way.